Last week, I made a video on the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K full frame and the autofocus update, which that is the camera we're filming on right now. And the autofocus with this Sigma MC21 adapter and this Sigma 24 to 35 didn't really work so well. And since this video came out, Blackmagic actually presented at NAB. NAB happened, and they came out with a statement basically saying, hey, for the most part, autofocus is going to work the best on L-mount lenses. Now, I didn't have any L-mount glass to test until this week. So right now, this is this is EF, but we are filming on the Sigma 28 to 45 with autofocus. And I'm also using the single point. So as you can see, that took a second, but I kept getting in and out of the single point. So I did some tests with autofocus in Sigma L-mount glass, specifically the 28 to 45, because when I thought about it, when I reviewed the 28 to 45 last year, although it was a really expensive lens, the single point autofocus worked really great. So I wanted to see how well it would work with this new continuous autofocus, since the Sony E-mount version works pretty well on Sony cameras. And I don't really know much about the L-mount version working on Lumix cameras because I don't have any. So I picked this up, decided to do some tests in face tracking, and decided to do some tests in the single point continuous autofocus mode, which I'm on right now. For the most part, it works really great. I mean, look, we are on this thing right now. It's not pulsing in and out as I'm sitting here. And we'll go move over to the side right here so it can go back. I'll go back into frame right here. It works pretty well. And of course, there's where does this fall in the line compared to Sony cameras or Canon cameras? And I've seen a lot of people come out with their videos on the autofocus since I came out with mine. And a lot of them used L-mount glass. I would say after looking at the footage that I took the other day with the face tracking and this single point mode, first, the single point mode in continuous autofocus seems to absolutely work the best. I mean, look, I kind of know where the mode is right here. And as I come in, we're in focus. I go back, we're in focus, and then back to me, in focus. That's the single point mode. It seems to work pretty great. So if we're talking head videos like this, totally usable, even in this beta state. When it comes to the face tracking, it seems to work the best when there's one face in there, although when there's multiple faces, you can click on the multiple faces. But there are a few issues I've had with it, especially when you get further away from the camera. So the tracking isn't necessarily up to par where I'd use it on a more professional level. But I would definitely say that the autofocus system in this camera, when you use at least this Sigma 28 to 45, is much better than anything you'll get on a camera like, let's say, the Red Komodo, which even with the updates as of late, it's not as good as this. I am using the Sigma 28 to 45, and the reason that is important is it seems people are getting different results with the autofocus systems based off of the lenses they are choosing. I was about to go get a super cheap L-mount lens from Lumix and test it out, and then I just decided to go for the 28 to 45 because I knew if it worked, the Blackmagic was going to be my A-cam in the studio again, and I was going to bring the FX30 back to being in the field with the Komodo and everything. So now I have my studio set up, and I'm able to use full frame, the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K full frame with the Sigma 28 to 45, and I do have a clip-in filter from Kolari that I'll be doing some content on soon. This is the 1/8 mist filter, and pretty decent. I am very happy with it. It's now letting me use this again as the studio camera. The XLR is built in. Let me start using my XLR mics again without having to use extra accessories. I'm super stoked with it. And so I would say if you're interested in Blackmagic, it's definitely, when it comes to the autofocus, a lot better than I had given it credit for because I just didn't have the right tools. And that's why in my video last week, I did mention I was using this adapter and I was using the 24 to 35. And I think that's why Blackmagic made it a point to come out and say, hey, by the way, it really works the best with L-mount glass. And I'm glad they did. The autofocus gets better in these Blackmagic cameras. Blackmagic, in order to compete with the likes of Sony and Canon, these companies that have had decent autofocus cameras for a while and have other features like a flip screen or an app that you could wirelessly look and preview your footage. These are some of the things we're going to have to start seeing in the future Blackmagic cameras. We're clearly not going to see that in this existing 6K full frame or the Pixis because it doesn't have that built in. But I would love to see some kind of Wi-Fi monitoring system like in the Komodo or the FX30 where I could wirelessly monitor my footage. Even having that Wi-Fi built into the camera at that point kind of negates the need to have a flip screen because you can monitor yourself in a phone. So let's see what Blackmagic does, but I am really happy so far with the results. I've been playing this now since Saturday. I've been messing with this 28 to 45, and I've been really stoked. And I think a lot of people not necessarily have slept on the 28 to 45, but I get it. It was the spiritual successor to the 18 to 35, which is a super 35 lens for EF cameras, but it's also way more expensive. I mean, this is over a $1,300 lens, where the Sigma 18 to 35 was considerably cheaper. So it is expensive, but with all the features this lens has, now that we have autofocus on the Blackmagic camera, is this going to be a really big selling lens with Blackmagic full frame cameras like the Cinema 6K full frame or the Pixis? I think it's going to be if you're trying to use the autofocus features of this camera, at least for right now, while we don't have some kind of list of which lenses work better than others. So that's today's video. I just wanted to show you some of that footage, let you know how the autofocus is working with an L-mount lens. And there is more content to be coming out here on the channel on the 6K full frame. So if you got knowledge and value out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos on the channel. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, tons more content coming out in this camera soon. Till next time, my name is Jeff Fagien. Thank you for watching as always, and I will catch you in the next video.